morning, everybody. We're here right in the heart of Makati. And as you can see, I'm actually calling you from right from my warehouse farm, right in the heart of the city. So what Urban Greens does is we're in the process of turning a warehouse, a city warehouse, into the biggest indoor warehouse farm the Philippines has seen. And this will be the first one, and we have several projects after this all throughout the Philippines. And by growing right in the heart of the city, and you might have heard of this term before, the farm to table distance. So we we make the farm to table distance smaller. We turn food miles literally into food steps. What that actually means is that anything that you order from us or that you would be getting from us from Urban Greens is harvested in the morning, and you get it right afterwards. So it's as fresh as it gets, no pesticides used, and all year round, because we're not affected by these big torrential typhoons that the Philippines knows and has seen. So Urban Green's mission is to ensure a consistent supply of the highest quality food through innovative vertical farming. And this all happened when I moved here about 5 years ago. So my mom is from Cebu and my dad is German. And I spent a lot of the time outside of the Philippines. And when I decided to move here to the Philippines after my corporate job, I left my corporate job. One of the first things that I noticed is that vegetables here are actually quite expensive. They're either very expensive if you want good quality, or if you're willing to pay less, then they're actually of lesser quality. And when I acquired a little bit about this, I saw that, obviously the Philippines has a lot of calamities such as storms and typhoons, which we may not have in other countries. But at the same time, a lot of the food is imported. So one of the main challenges that the Philippines faces as well, that we are visited as a country with about 25 storms and typhoons throughout the year. So last year, we even experienced the biggest typhoon in 2020, which hit the Philippines. What that does is obviously it just obliterates, it destroys all of the farmlands in its path. And that's really bad for our food supply chain, right? And we have very inconsistent quality as well because, our farming is very much out of date. What can we do? We can't do much about changing the weather. But, Richard, you and me, we're sitting in a confined space where we're protected from the heat at the moment. If it's dark outside, we turn on the lights. If it's too hot, we turn on the fan or aircon. And, we're not affected by storms and typhoons because we're protected by our walls, right? And that's what it is, right? That's what urban farming does. And we brought in farms indoors so that we're protected from the environment. And what we do is we bring 21st century technology to the Philippines. So this is precise farming, or urban farming technology. So we use IoT and we use smartphone technology and all of this to enhance the way we can grow food. We reduce the farm to table distance from food miles to food steps, which means that all of the food that you'd be getting is super, super fresh because you lose a lot of nutrients whilst in transport. And particularly for the environment, all of that carbon footprint that comes with the logistics of transporting items from abroad, right? A lot of the food, when it comes from China, for instance, it comes by a boat and then it gets warehoused and stored, and then from one warehouse to another. All of this creates a lot of carbon footprint. We're there to reduce that carbon footprint to a very, very bare minimal by growing right in the heart of the city, right near the consumers, right? By 2050, 70% of the population, of the world population, will be living in urban areas, and even more so in the Philippines. So all of these people will need to be fed. And at the moment, we don't have the resources at hand to feed that increase in number of population, right? So our vision in urban farming is to ensure access and food security to all the citizens of the Philippines. This is really our big master plan. So we're here in our first warehouse. The sign behind me says Urban Greens WF1 because it's our first warehouse, first one of many, and we want to turn our modular and scalable units here to convert other indoor spaces into urban farms. I hope this was a little bit educational, maybe, for you, and gives you a little bit of an insight in what the endless possibilities are of indoor vertical farming. Thank you very much.